Well, everyone loves a hub for all information. That is, until something goes wrong with it. PowerSchool is a commonly used education software for schools all across North Dakota. Last week, we told you North Dakota Information Technology reported a breach with PowerSchool's customer service portal. Lindsay Miller spoke with the state IT department for updates on the situation and how you can protect yourself.
Data breaches have become more and more common as concerns grow over the security of the information we share online. In December, school software company PowerSchool was hit with a breach. Corey Mock with North Dakota Information Technology says it wasn't until the new year that they saw signs the Peace Garden state was affected. He says when they learned of this, they stepped into action.
It was rapid response, all hands on deck. We locked down PowerSchool to any access outside of the network.
Mock says their team wanted to ensure the issue was contained and resolved, so there was no ongoing concern for North Dakota PowerSchool users.
We put in some enhanced security measures, made sure everything was okay on anything we could impact.
So what is PowerSchool? John Geiser is the K-12 strategist for the state IT department. He says every school in North Dakota uses the software, and it's a key resource.
It's really, in many ways, the lifeblood of a school's data organization.
He says parents, students, teachers, and school administrators all have access to the program and its many features.
It includes student achievement like grades, things like attendance. It might also include any notes the teachers have to make.
While we're still working to learn more about the scope of the breach, Geiser has advice for users. He says to bring a healthy skepticism whenever anyone requests information from you. He also suggests using two-factor authentication and changing passwords frequently to keep yourself safe both on PowerSchool and online in general. In Minot, I'm Lindsay Miller, reporting for your News Leader.
Now, Geiser says PowerSchool stores confidential data in a variety of formats to keep it safe. He says just because someone has access to the program, that doesn't always mean that they have access to all the records. We did reach out to PowerSchool as well. They declined an interview but shared details on how their company is responding to all this. We'll include that in this story on our website.